Hello students, Assalamu alaikum. Hope you all will be fine. Let's start today's lesson, The Science of Biology Part 3. There is nothing magical about science. Scientists, including biologists, employ an approach for solving scientific problems that is known as the scientific method. Biological methods are systematic approaches used to study living organisms, understand biological processes, and solve biological problems. Biological problems are solved by a series of steps of biological method. Biological method has the following steps: recognition of a biological problem, observations and identification, building up hypothesis, drawing deduction, devising experiment, and inferring results. The first step is identifying a specific issue or question related to biology. Biological problem is a question related to living organisms. This could be inspired by natural phenomenon and abnormality or an observation requiring explanation. The question is either asked by someone or comes in mind of a researcher. Observations are very important step in solving a biological problem. Observations are made by five senses of vision, hearing, smell, taste, and touch. Careful observation of the phenomenon in details helps gather basic information. Observations are of two types: qualitative observation, which are based on some quality or characteristics, for example, color, shape, and quantitative observation, which are based on measurable values. Quantitative observation, being measurable, are invariable and can be expressed in terms of numbers, so are more accurate. A hypothesis is a testable statement that provides a potential explanation for the observed problem. Hypothesis is a statement that may prove to be the answer of the biological problem under study. Hypothesis is a tentative explanation of the observation that might be true. A hypothesis should have following characteristics. It should be a general statement, it should be a tentative idea, it should agree with the available observations, it should be testable and potentially falsified. Deductions are the logical consequences of the hypothesis. To draw deductions, hypothesis is taken as true. Deduction involve if and then logic. So, this step outlines what should happen if the hypothesis is correct. Experimentation is the most important step of biological method. Experiments are performed to prove if hypothesis is true or not. The deductions drawn from the hypothesis are subjected to rigorous testing. Through experimentations, biologists learn which hypothesis is correct. So the key elements are the independent variable, the factor being changed, for example, soil, pH, dependent variable, the outcome being measured, for example, plant height, and control group, the standard for comparison, experimental group, the group subjected to the independent variable. The biologist gathers actual quantitative data from the experiments. This data arranged to draw results. Results are analyzed to draw conclusions. This helps scientists understand the problem better. Analysis are of two types: descriptive analysis, summarizing data patterns, and inferential analysis, using statistical method to validate conclusions. Theory is a well-tested explanation that is supported by a large body of evidence. It can be tested repeatedly and is accepted by the scientific community. Example, the theory of evolution explains how species change over time. A law is a statement that describes a consistent relationship observed in nature. Laws are often expressed mathematically. For example, Mendel's law of inheritance. Let's see the difference between the theory and the law. A theory explains why something happens, while a law describes what happens. Theories can evolve with new evidence, laws remain consistent. Both are crucial for scientific understanding. Collecting data is essential for testing hypotheses and theories. Data can be organized using graphs, tables, and charts. Analyzing data helps in understanding patterns and making predictions. Common techniques include calculating averages, ratios, and proportions. Understanding statistics is vital for interpreting data accurately. This helps in making informed conclusions in scientific research. Let's take the malaria as an example to describe the biological method of studies. Malaria has killed more people than any other disease. The malaria is an example of biological problem and how such problems can be solved. Malaria is a serious disease caused by a parasite transmitted through mosquitoes' bites. Symptoms include fever, chill, and sweating. It was a significant problem in the 19th century, particularly in the marshy areas. Researchers observed that malaria and marshy areas have some relation. Quinine is an effective drug for treating malaria. Drinking the water of marshes does not cause malaria. Plasmodium is seen in the blood of a malarial patient. Based on these observations and other information, following hypothesis was formulated by a French physician, Laveran, in 1882, and it was Plasmodium is the cause of malaria. Although hypothesis is a tentative idea to draw deductions, it is accepted to be true. One of the deductions from the above hypothesis was if Plasmodium is the cause of malaria, then all persons ill with the malaria should have Plasmodium in their blood. This deduction was tested through experiment. Experiment was designed as blood of 100 patients was examined under microscope for the purpose of having control group. The blood of 100 healthy persons were also examined under microscope. The results of experiments showed that almost all malarial patients had Plasmodium in their blood. Only 7 out of 100 healthy persons had Plasmodium in their blood. Other 93 healthy persons were without any trace of Plasmodium in their blood. In the 7 healthy persons with Plasmodium in their blood, Plasmodium was in incubation period. The incubation period is the time between the entry of parasite in the host and the appearance of the symptoms of disease. After a few days, those 7 healthy persons became ill with malaria. Results were quite convincing to prove the hypothesis that Plasmodium is the cause of malaria. Results of these experiments were announced worldwide, which helped to control malaria. Like the video and subscribe the channel for more videos.